and this wouldn't be Arise Prime Time without the presence of at least one analyst to give his personal perspective on the news and issues we've discussed today on the program, as well as the other stories that are of interest to our audience. So for the rest of the program, we're joined by the journalist, policy strategist, and Arise News analyst, Waziri Adio. Great to see you, Waziri. And you heard Richard Dowden, the UK sort of Africa specialist, talking about the complicated relationship between the British monarchy and Africa. What do you think the Queen's legacy will be in Africa?
Well, I'll start with that word complicated. And it also depends on how far you want to go. Because in the aftermath of her passing, you've seen all kinds of reactions, ranging from people who say, oh, a great queen, the queen of the world, has departed. And some people say, no, that's not our queen. We have nothing to mourn and all of that. So I think it's very important to separate the queen from the institution, that she represented. Yes, the British monarchy played very serious role in the world. There was a time when Britain was ruling almost half of the world, especially in Africa. And the contact with Africa, ranged from slavery to colonialism to post-colonialism. So I don't think it's particularly fair to heap all the blames for that contact and all the baggages of that on just one person. Yeah, especially when you bear in mind that she became a queen in 1952. That was the decolonization era. Colonization was coming to an end. She wasn't part of. Yes, she's part of the British monarchy as the queen, right? But I don't think we should blame her for all the ills of slavery, of colonialism, and all of that. And by the way, for all of those things, there are blames to be shared on all sides. That's the nature of empire. It's not a tea party. And empire building is not just between the Europeans and the Africans. We also had internal empires also. If you are coming from, you have Benin Empire, the Oyo Empire, the Kanem Borno Empire, you have the Sokoto Caliphate and all of that. It wasn't it wasn't a bed of roses, and people, there were always people who were at the receiving end of all of this empire building, right? So, but coming to her, I think she became a queen at 25, at a pretty young age. She was not expected to become the queen. When she was born in 1926, the New York Times actually wrote an article to say, because as you know, her father was not even supposed to be the king.
Absolutely.
And the New York Times wrote an article that, this is a potentially future queen, but is really improbable for her to become a queen. But her uncle abdicated, her father became a king.
And the rest is history.
Her father died early.
Right.
She was holidaying in Kenya, and she became the queen. But she handled the office with so much grace. And with so much panache, that's like Richard was saying, it was even difficult for you to find her making a mistake, and as he also said, many also think about her as an absolute monarch. By the time she became the queen, the absolute era.
Well, she was a constitutional.
Yeah, she was a constitutional queen. A constitutional monarch, more or less like an advisory. She was powerful,
absolutely,
and all of that. But she was more of in advisory capacity.
She was essentially an
There's a British government that she was just advising. So I think we
should cut her some slack.
And we should look at we should take it in equal measure. And yes, she has passed. We should acknowledge that. And acknowledge also our contribution.
Well, let's move the discussion.
Let's
move the discussion closer to home, which is Nigeria. How do you analyze the year so far in Nigerian politics? It's a big,
very interesting. As prelude to a landmark election, and it's going to be landmark in many ways. This is the 7th in a cycle of presidential elections and this is the longest we're having as a country. If you go back from 1960 to 1966, it was just 6 years. From 1979 to 1984, just 5 years. So this is our longest experience with democracy, and this is the first time that we'll be having 7 cycles of elections back to back, and this is the second time when we have a president that's time barred, meaning completing 8 years and cannot stand for election again. We had that in 2007. Now we're going to have that in 2023, which also means that the election is likely to be open because there won't be an incumbent.
Absolutely.
Right? So and because of that, we've seen a lot of drama. Starting with the conventions of the party, the emergence of their candidates, and all the drama that goes with that, and also the unexpected twists and turns. And we have the longest time between the conclusion of the primaries and the start of the campaigns, and between the campaigns, the start of the campaigns and the election itself. So it's a long period of drama.
I think the word is it's a very interesting period.
We live in interesting times.
You use the word drama. You wrote a very informative article about how Governor Wike of Rivers State has become the main issue in the People's Democratic Party. Having lost the presidential and vice presidential tickets, he's taken to constantly berating the party, openly holding hands with the PDP's competitors in the upcoming election, in spite of repeated attempts by the PDP to appease him. What do you think Nyesom Wike really wants?
It's difficult to know, but it's clear that you cannot wish him away. And that's the reason why people are trying to appease him. Ordinarily, when people feel disgruntled, what they do is to pack their bags and leave. He has decided to stay and create as much fuss as possible. And you also have some instances when somebody does something that you think, okay, this is too much for us. You can actually expel them from the party. The party is not doing that because they know that there's a risk with not handling him with care, right? And the question to ask is that why is Wike? What is his source of power? It's difficult to know what his end game is, and we can speculate about that. But why is he so powerful? Why is it that the presidential candidate, the party, and all the other parties are also dancing around him, right? And as I mentioned in that article, there are 3 reasons for that. The first thing is that Rivers State is a very strategic state. Rivers State has the 4th highest number of registered voters now, right? And Rivers State also has a lot of resources that you need, to prosecute the election. So that is the first one. The second thing is that Wike is not standing alone. It would have been easy to isolate him and to run a ring around him if he were to be a lone wolf, but it's not. He has at least openly 3 governors with him. According to rumors, he also has another 3 governors with him.
3 PDP governors.
PDP governors. So so he has in his camp now, you have between 4 to 7 out of the 13 PDP
and those governors often have a big role in elections.
Yes, in our election, governors play an outsized role, in our election, in our politics. So because of that, so you have between 30 to 50% of the sitting PDP governors with him. So that's one thing. The other thing that also made him powerful is that there was a vacuum in PDP. Since PDP lost power in 2015, there was no rallying point. They used to have a rallying point for 16 years with having a sitting president. So there's nobody with that magisterial presence that can pull everybody together. So there was a vacuum, and Wike stepped into that vacuum, right? The Obasanjo abandoned them. He tore his card. President Jonathan,
Obasanjo is a former Nigerian
former president of Nigeria, he tore his PDP card. He left the party. Former President Jonathan didn't tear his card, but he's busy more with other things. He was even, romancing, fraternizing with APC. At some point, he was said to be planning to fly so there was a vacuum. And after the election in 2019, the candidate of PDP also relocated. So there was a vacuum that Wike stepped into. He was able to use the resources available to him to establish some kind of structure.
That's maybe why he's very disappointed he didn't get the ticket.
Yes, but despite that he didn't get the ticket, right? That hold that he has on the party is still there. He has not.
So basically, if he doesn't get what he wants, the likely consequences for the PDP would be pretty big.
Yes, and that's why they're handling it with care. PDP has three options. One is to say call his bluff and just say, forget about it. You can get lost. The second option is to say identify the people who are with him and cut deals with them. The third is to accommodate him, right? And because Rivers is very strategic, and also because PDP is a bit vulnerable. PDP's stronghold happens to be...
Very quickly, we've got 30 seconds.
Yeah, their stronghold happens to be in the south-south and the southeast. And with the emergence of Peter Obi, he's
going to eat into the PDP.
He's going to eat into the PDP. So like I said in that article, Wiki has become the thing around PDP's neck.
And I love that expression.
They have to find a way
of the thing around the PDP's neck. Thank you very much indeed, Waziri. Always great to talk with you. And of course, Waziri Adio, the journalist, policy strategist, and Arise News analyst. That's it for this edition of Arise Prime Time. Join us again tomorrow. From me and the entire team here in Abuja, Lagos, and London, bye-bye, and thank you for watching.